Y'all know I really got to get my stuff together. I was supposed to start this show, 15 minutes ago. Then I pushed it back, and I'm still starting, a minute, 2 minutes late. And maybe I'm just not built for live TV. Maybe I just don't like timelines. Maybe I'm just full of it. But hey, it's the big baby. And I'm back for the last time. Unfortunately, guys, yes, this is my last time. This may be the last time that you ever see me on a podcast. I've really enjoyed the experience, but I'm getting ready to move. New place, new job, new me, right? So I think I'm going to leave the podcast in the rearview mirror. I'm going to still find ways to, have an effect on people, talk about things, and even create content, I think. But I'm definitely going to take a step back from the podcast, man, because as much as I enjoy it, sometimes it's just so grueling putting the topics together, taking the time to try to book guests, the snippets. And it started to feel like a job and no longer a passion project. And the second that a passion project that cost me money felt like a job that didn't make me money, I was just like, nah, bro, can't do it. Can't do it no more. Y'all know I'm full of shit, man. It's April Fool's Day, so I tried to throw a little April Fools in there, a little fake, whatever the case it is that you want it to be. So today is April Fool's, the first day of April. What the hell is April Fool's Day? What is it? Like, I honestly have no idea what April Fool's Day is. It's a day full of practical jokes and lies and stuff. I know the good one is, hey, honey, just want you to know that I got Becky from accounting pregnant. You what? Oh no, motherfucker! No, I'm joking, baby. I'm joking. It's April Fool's. Well, don't play with me like that, or Mom got my girl pregnant. Or like I saw today the J. Cole piece where it's J. Cole signing with the Detroit Pistons. What else did I see? I saw George Kittle repping the Jacksonville Jaguars. So yeah, I think it's a funny holiday. Nothing that I particularly participate in. I'm not a fan of practical jokes or pranks. About the only prank you're going to catch out of me is reorganizing certain people's rooms. So yes, Joel, when I make my way to DC, you better not leave me in the apartment for 10 minutes by myself. You better not fall asleep before I fall asleep. Because if you do, just know that the place is going to be different from the way that you left it. And I truly hope that when I do it, there's something that you really want, not something that you need, but something that you really want, and it takes you a couple of hours to find it. Yeah, that's where we're at with it. So that's about all you're going to get out of me with practical jokes. I tried to do something new and nice, little corny, April Fools, to see where we could go with that one. But yeah, a dud, maybe. Yeah, a dud. I don't know. Okay, so let's get to Lil Nas X. I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. He made some other song that I hadn't heard. Now we're going crazy talking about Lil Nas X because he has the satanic Nike shoes. He's shaking ass on the devil or some shit like that. I don't even really know what he's doing because I don't consume a lot of that stuff. And I'm at an age where I'm not interested in what Lil Nas X does. If Lil Nas X makes a song that gets played in places that I'm at and it's a good song, I go, oh, cool, I like that song. Like Old Town Road. I like Old Town Road. And then the remix with, what's his name? Billy Ray Cyrus. I like the remix. And then the other remix when Thug hopped on it. Yeah, I like that too. So that's really all Lil Nas X has been for me and will ever be to me. And I'm only talking about him today and leading the show with him is because so many people are talking about the topic, talking about what he's doing and how good, bad, homophobic everybody is, whatever the case may be. And it's something that I think we should talk about. Again, we're not going to too much focus on Lil Nas X because I could care less about what the little troll does. Honestly, I look at him like I look at Tekashi 6ix9ine, somebody who's made some music that younger people like and they go crazy on the internet. Most of what they do is internet antics more than actual music. And what I care about when I'm looking at an artist that I'm going to follow. Like, I don't really care what my favorite artists do on the internet. I care about what they do in the booth. I care about what they do in the studio. I care about what they do on stage. Why? Because they're musicians. That's what I go to them for. So, like where do we start with this? Where do we start? So, he's doing some devil stuff, some devil worship, and we're saying, oh my God, what does it do to the kids? Nothing. I mean, maybe it sparks an important conversation that you should probably have with your kids about their role models, about religion, about what they're consuming on a day-to-day basis when you're not around. I don't necessarily think you should hide it from your kids. I don't think you should like give it to them and say, hey, you see this new Lil Nas X and the devil and the shaking ass and the lap dance? For one, I don't know why your young children will be watching music videos. Maybe I'm old school, but let me stop. I watched music videos when I was a kid. But do people still watch music videos? I don't. When I consume music, I listen to it. But anyways, so people are mad about it. And here's the thing. For the kids, he's supposed to be a role model. No, he's not. He is supposed to live his life the way that he sees fit. And as long as he is not purposefully causing direct harm to people, he's fine. What your job is as a parent is to look at the guy who doesn't have kids telling the parents what to do with their kids, is create a place for your kid to grow and learn and develop into who they want to be. So you should be able to have those conversations where when you see things that you may not align with, you can have that conversation. You can say, hey, this is what this is. This is what this means, and this is what it means to me, and this is what I take it to mean to you, and that you allow them the opportunity to respond, right? You remember Charles Barkley said he's not a role model. The same thing with Lil Nas X, man. He's a young person living his life, and if doing this wild stuff makes him happy, makes him money, then so be it. But it's not his job to raise your child. Now, ideally, do we want our entertainers, our athletes, whoever our kids are looking at, and even us as adults, those people that we look at and we support, would we like for them to be good people? Would we like for them to align with us ideologically? Yes, absolutely. You want to agree with your favorite player. You know, you want to agree with your favorite musicians. You never want to be in a place to where you really like somebody's products, the services that they provide, but you're not a fan of the individual. But it happens. It's a thing. It can happen. So what I say for this is, as far as the kid stuff, man, it's not a problem. And then you talk about the satanic piece, like, oh my God, he's going to have the kids worshiping the devil. I grew up watching South Park, and Satan and Saddam Hussein were dating on South Park. Guess what? I'm not satanic. You know, I think that light exposure to things that we may not like isn't a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because it starts a conversation. And the most important thing for growth and learning is our experiences and conversations, right? So if you never have the conversation about what Lil Nas X is doing, and your kid saying, why is he doing this? Or why won't you let me watch it? Oh my God, mommy, I love this. You get to explain to them why you're not a fan of it or why they shouldn't be consuming it, because the conversation is so important. And I've seen some people say that, nah, the issue isn't the satanic stuff. It's just because he's gay and y'all are mad at Lil Nas X for being gay. There are a lot of gay people in the world. There are a lot of gay entertainers in the world. I don't think the average person truly cares about Lil Nas X's sexuality. I really don't. Do I think there are some people out there that are bothered by him being gay? Yes, because there are homophobic people in the world. I'm not that damn ignorant. But a lot of people don't like seeing things that they don't agree with from people that they may like or they may be fans of. And I think that's what it boils down to. I think that as a society, we put way too much I don't know, responsibility on our celebrities' shoulders. I think that we give them way too much power. I think we're way too invested into their lives and we care too much about what they say and what they do. So then when they do something that we don't like or say something that we don't like, we're disappointed. But don't be disappointed in a celebrity. Be disappointed in yourself by investing in someone that much that you don't know. How about you take that energy and channel it into the people that you know, the people that you care about, and those that care about you. And then maybe you will see the returns that you want. Because the thing is, man, like I don't know, right? So listening to what was it? Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade was on the I Am Athlete podcast, and I listened to a snippet this morning. I'm actually going to go back and listen to the full conversation, right? Because it's a good one. And D Wade was talking about what happened with his daughter Zaya, who used to be his son Zion. And he was like, I'm happy that people like Boosie came out and said what they said. Why? Because it starts a conversation. And D Wade even got to the place where he was talking about how they were hiding her from the internet because they were trying to protect her. And then he said, am I hiding her for her? Or am I hiding her for me? And I think that it's so important because people are coming out saying D Wade is this, he's soft. How dare you let your son become a daughter? And what D Wade says is, look, it was a process for me to get there too. I understand that this is difficult, but as a parent, we're here to help our kids be the best them, not be who we want them to be. That's D Wade's words. And I think that's an important lesson because how often do we see overbearing parents trying to make their children be who they want their child to be instead of who their child is supposed to be? And the child not wanting to let their parent down continues down this path that their parent is trying to blaze for them, but on the inside, they're eating, they're hurting, they're broken, and they can't even go to the people who gave them life to say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, because they don't want to hurt them. They don't want to let them down. Or the parent, when they do it, the parent comes back and pushes back on them and says, oh, you shouldn't do that. You should live your life. Let me live mine. At some point, you got to let go and let God, right? You got to trust in yourself as a parent. And I think a lot of parents have low parenting self-esteem. So what they do is they want to guide and push every single thing that the kid is doing instead of letting the kid be themselves. Because guess what? Your kid is going to be an adult. And your kid might already be an adult. And you're trying to say, you need to do this, you need to do that. Hey, no, you need to shut the hell up. You've done your job. You've raised me. You've equipped me with the skills to do what it is that I'm supposed to do in life. Now allow me to use those skills. Now, maybe I don't use the skills the way that you want me to, but I may be using them the way that I want them to be used, right? So, parents, you got to get to that point to where you let go. You have to remove some of your emotional investment in your children's decisions. Let them date who they want. Let them pursue the careers that they want. Let them pursue the lifestyles that they want. Can you give them advice? Yes, you should. You can say, hey, I don't think you should be doing that. Hey, I don't support this. Yes, absolutely. But at the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to do. Now, think about it. How many of us, when we were teenagers who had curfews, pick and chose when we wanted to break curfew? We knew the curfew. I have never not known a curfew. But if the right party was happening, the right people was talking about it, oh yeah, bro, we're breaking curfew tonight. Or if we're just out chilling, and then the night goes into a place to where it's like, oh, you know what time it is. Oh yeah, now I'm breaking curfew. And the night might not even end the way I wanted it to, but the opportunity to get there, I'm gonna break curfew. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. There are so many things that my mom taught me not to do. And I hate when people say, oh, you was raised better than that. So, still can make my own decisions. I can still be raised not to be a certain way and choose to be that way because that's who I want to be. Maybe that's who I'm supposed to be. So that's just something to think about, man. It reminds me of what Steve Harvey came out a couple weeks ago talking about who his daughter Lori is dating and how he loves Michael B. Jordan and how the other guys, he made sure they were gone. Hey, Steve. Not going to tell you how to parent, but going to tell you how to parent. Your daughter's grown. No matter what you do behind the scenes, if she wants to be with somebody and they want to be with her, they're going to make it happen. Because guess what? Parents can be X out of their kids' lives for trying to run their kids' lives. And parents, you don't want to do that. You don't. So trust yourself. Trust your instincts. Trust what you taught your children. And no, did you teach them everything? Absolutely not. Do kids get the opportunity to grow up and create their own experiences so that they can have their own calluses in their own life? Yes. But trust that their baseline, their floor is high enough to make them a functional, capable individual in this world. Trust that their floor is enough for them to find happiness in the life that they choose to live, not the life that you chose for them or the life that you want them to live. And back to Lil Nas X, I honestly think he's an industry plant. I think his overlords are over here puppet mastering him and all of this stuff, and they fund all of his nonsense. I mean, you see Nike is suing him and whoever he partnered with about those damn shoes. Nike wants no part of that, and I don't blame Nike. I wouldn't want any parts of some satanic shoe stuff, even if Nike is not a Christian organization. I would not want to be associated with that because, it isolates a group of people who like to wear Nikes. And I'm not someone who's going to get so outraged by a company if they do some stuff that I don't like, but I'm also not a moralist. I could care less what you do. If you provide something for me that I like or that I need, more times than not, I'm going to consume that because I'm out here looking for myself. Out here looking out for myself. All right, man. So one thing that I probably didn't say about the show is it's going to be long. It's going to be a really, really long show. I'm going to combine the NFL hour and Let's Talk Hoops. I may even combine some bathroom breaks in here and all of that. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here a long time. And I hope that some of you will love to hang out with me today. I was having a conversation with one of my good friends earlier in the week. And we were talking about just life, love, and the pursuit of happiness, family building, career progression, investing, the important stuff that you talk about with your friends. I had to throw investing in there because if you're not talking about money and investing in your circle, you need a new circle. That ain't the circle you need to be in. If your friends ain't talking about money, get new friends. Shut up. Everybody don't care about money. Everybody's not ran by money. And yes, generational wealth, trying to build wealth is important, but there are more things to life. And you choose what's important to you. Don't let me choose it for you. So anyways, we're having this conversation. And he was like, he and one of his friends were having a conversation about things their dad never taught them. And I was like, bruh, that's some good shit right there. Because I think about some of the stuff that I talk about with my friends, and so much of manhood we experience for the first time on our own. And don't get me wrong, this is not a shot at dads for not having these conversations, because I think these conversations are very difficult. And if I were in the shoes of a parent, I don't know how I would approach some of these conversations, right? And I think about the conversations of, how do you deal with your partner? How do you deal with yourself? How do you fight temptation, right? How, is this behavior, is this feeling normal? And I think, as a dad, especially if you're married to the mother of your child, you may not want to talk to your son about locker room talk, or the days that you thought about leaving his mother, or the time that you almost Quavoed on her ass. You know what I mean? Like that. I shouldn't joke about that, but really, people have tempers. People have shortcomings. Everyone's not perfect, so we're not going to act like nobody's dad has ever put hands on their mom or came close to it. And not to say that it's okay, I'm not saying that, but again, having that conversation with, like, hey man, I had some anger management, I had to work on that, I had to go get therapy, I had to go seek help, or I had to just take a look at myself and figure some stuff out, I had to get prayed up. Yes, Lord. And I think that it's a hard place for dads, but let's not make it so hard. Let's normalize these hard conversations, because the more and more we do it, the less and less difficult it becomes. It becomes a casual conversation. It's like, oh, you can't talk about sex. Yes, you can. You can talk about anything. And the more and more you talk about these things, they become normal. So dads, talk to your sons about sex, women, how to date, how to holler at a woman, the different phases of manhood, the different feelings. What is it like to be middle-aged and married for 20 plus years? Do you ever want to get back in the streets, right? What made you step out of the streets to lock yourself into a long-term commitment to your partner? Did you ever step out? Why? Like, help me so I don't make the mistakes that you may have made, or help me so that I don't make the mistakes that you didn't make, because you were able to push through it. You were able to find strength in yourself. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, for me personally, and for some of my friends, learning how to live with a partner, create a family together, I ain't had that conversation with anybody. And maybe it's on us to go ask, because closed mouths don't get fed on this boulevard. Hustle, hustle, hustle hard. So maybe we should go to our parents and say, hey man, talk me through this. Like, really talk to me. Like, let's get vulnerable, because I want to make sure that when I am in your position, that for one, I make better decisions than you all did, not because y'all made bad decisions, but because we should strive to be better than our parents, right? I think that's fair, normal. And then, what they say, the wise person learns from the mistakes of others. So let me learn from you, so I ain't got to learn from me and go through this heartbreak hotel, because it hurts. So just think about, what didn't your dad teach you as a man? Hell, what did your mom not teach you as a woman? What did your dad not teach you as a woman? What did your mom not teach you as a man? And if you have children, have those tough conversations with them. Sometimes force it on them. or at least open the door so that they can possibly walk into it. And maybe they walk into it later. They don't walk into it today. But I think that's something that we should start doing because it helps us create a better world for the next generation. And me personally, I think that's what we're here to do. Even if it's for your next generation, you should try to do that. So think about the things your dad never taught you. Think about the things your mom never taught you. Maybe go to them because you could still learn from those situations. But also take those to your children and think about those when you have children so you can fill those gaps for them and they can learn from your experiences and maybe not have as many bad experiences. But again, they're going to do what we're going to do what we're going to do. We're going to do what we want to do, and we should be allowed to do that. All right, man. What we got next here? Quavo and Sweetie. Quavo and Sweetie, right? I'm not going to really talk about couples. Because here's the thing about Quavo and Sweetie. I care less about them. Honestly, I thought, Quavo was a little distracted. I understand how love can have you distracted. And I'm hoping that Culture 3 is what we want from the Migos, right? I hope that the time off has helped Honcho get his ducks in a row so he can get out here and give us that heat that we want along with Offset and Takeoff. But there's a few things about this Quavo and Sweetie thing that I see. For one, I see you all caring about Quavo and Sweetie's relationship more than you care about your relationship with your mom, your dad, your significant other, and God. That's a problem. I also see y'all saying, oh my God, if Quavo and Sweetie can't work, then what the hell are we going to do? Or Sweetie is too pretty for Quavo. Or Quavo, he got all this shit going on. Why would he even want to goddamn be with Sweetie? You know what I mean? Shit, Sweetie was with Quavo just to come up. I've heard all of this stuff. And I go, or maybe two people found each other. They tried to do something. It worked for a while. And then it didn't. Or, oh my God, how could Quavo cheat on Sweetie? Or how could Jay-Z cheat on Beyonce? Bro, look, any and everybody can get cheated on. I'm willing to bet almost everybody has been cheated on at least once. And some of us may never find out about it because the person who cheated is going to take it to the grave. And the person they cheated with is going to take it to the grave, or they don't even know that you exist. Yeah, it's like that. So here's the thing. Why are we putting Sweetie, Beyonce, name that other person on a pedestal of they cannot be cheated on? It's a thing. Go outside. Sorry, guys, taking care of a dog. But when then it happens, and we're shocked. We should not be shocked, and you shouldn't put someone in a place that they are infallible. If you subscribe to my religion, only one person has walked this earth and was perfect, and that person is Jesus Christ. So if you take that belief, then that should tell you that, hey, Sweetie is not the perfect partner. That should also tell you that Quavo is not the perfect partner. Which should then tell you that there are problems that are going to exist in that relationship that may cause somebody to want to step out. Yes, Sweetie makes good music. And yes, she's a nice-looking young lady. But maybe she has a shitty personality. Maybe she's shitty in bed. That could be a thing. And I'm not saying this to bash Sweetie. I don't know Sweetie. Could care less about Sweetie. I hope she comes out with some bomb music. I hope her life is great. I hope she gets everything that she wants and deserves out of life. But she's not perfect. No one is. So stop with the celebrity worship. Stop. They go through shit just like we do. They put their pants on just like we do. The only problem is we watch them and they don't watch us. Yeah, like y'all know Sweetie still take big stinking ass shits every day, right? Y'all know Beyonce got morning breath. You know, Rihanna can get musty too. You know what I mean? So the idea that these people are above us, they're more than us, no. They're really good at what they do, and they do things that people care about. And there's nothing wrong with living a life in the public eye if that's what you choose to do, if that's what you want out of life, or if that's or the career that you choose takes you there. But that doesn't make you any more or less of a human being than anybody else who's not living that life. And we really, really, really have to, take a look at that and get better about it. And as far as that elevator scene goes, not a big fan of it. Don't put your hands on your woman. Hey, woman, don't put your hands on your man, because once you start getting handsy, you don't know what the other person is capable of doing. You don't know what that person is going to do, and just stop. I'm just gonna say, just stop. Just nah. Both people wrong. I ain't gonna assign more blame. No, bro. I wasn't there. I saw a clip. I ain't hear no audio. I'm not in their business. Do I support men putting their hands on women? Hell no. Do I support women putting their hands on men? Hell no. So just don't do that. But then after the elevator scene piece comes out, now Sweetie did clear it up and say this happened well over a year ago. It's old stuff. We got past this, but there were just other things going on. Got it, whatever. But then you have Adrian Bronner coming out talking about some nonsense of that's just all I see is black love right there. He's an abuser, and Boosie pretty much co-signed and saying, no, that's not abuse. I don't know what abuse is. I mean, I don't know if that's abuse, but that's not black love. And then I saw Chet Hanks, who also is or was in a relationship with a black woman, and had a little bit of blood on his head, and she had a knife. I don't know if she stabbed him or what happened, but then I saw in a comment, the game was like, Chet, you better go back to Becky, because words to that effect, go back to a white woman because you ain't built to deal with black women. For one, calling that black love or telling somebody that if they can't deal with a physically abusive partner or someone who gets a little handsy at times, calling that black love is just absolutely disgusting. I don't think that that's the only way that my people know how to love. I don't think that's the way that people should love. Now, if that's how you choose to love and that works for you and your partners, y'all do what y'all do in y'all's own house. As long as the walls is up and it ain't messing up what I got going on over here, I'm gonna let y'all live and let y'all deal with yourselves and God and the law, if the law ever gets involved, okay? But to call that black love is crazy. And to say that black women, that's what we have to expect from our black women, that's what they do, is disrespectful to them and just downright disgusting. It's disgraceful. Like, damn. I be trying to say that, that the black women be OD with saying that people don't respect who they are and what they do. And then I see this come out. Like, God, shit. All of our queens aren't violent. All of them aren't going to pull a blade on you when things go awry. And ooh, look at that preacher stutter. I couldn't think of what I wanted to say, so I kept the stutter going. I didn't know if y'all knew that, but like some people go, yeah, my stutter is a filler sometimes. It's natural and then it turns into a filler. But anyways, it's just disgusting, man. I think black love is just like any other love. I don't think that we should say that, oh, black love looks like this, white love looks like this, brown love looks like this, yellow love looks like this, orange love look like this, straight love look like this, gay love look like... No, love is defined by the people who are involved in the relationship. Because love is a word that has a specific meaning for each individual person, right? You know, love is what we say for the people who we care about most. If you truly care about somebody, if you hold them near and dear to your heart, you love them. But as we all know that there are levels to that love. You don't love your mom the same way you love your best friend, and you don't love either of them the same way you love your significant other, right? So we have to stop generalizing what love is. Because, you know, people say, if you loved me, you wouldn't do that. No. If you loved me, you would not do what I did, because that's not how you define love. But if I define love differently from you, do not hold me to the same standard or the same actions that you would do during love. But in order to figure that out, you have to have a conversation with the people that you love and explain to them what love looks like for you. And they explain what love looks like for them. And then you two come together, and now you have an understanding of love. Now, I think this is a bit more specific to somebody you're in a partnership with, not someone who you are necessarily like friends with. Like, bro, I tell my guys I love them. They know what the fuck that means. I tell a family member I love them. They know what that means. I tell my mother I love her. My dad, I love him. They know exactly what that means. But if I tell a woman that I love her, does she know what that means? Does she know what that entails? Does she know what my actions are for women that I love, for people that I love? Because some people say, oh, you would not do that to somebody you love. And I could say, bro, I did this to my mom. And I'm not closer to anybody in this world more so than my mother. So if I would do this to her, who the hell are you? Well, that ain't love. Not love for you, but it could be love for me. All right, so speaking of love and friend love, there's been a little bit of shakeup over at the Joe Budden podcast. And I'm a big fan of the podcast. And I saw a few weeks back, maybe a few months back, somebody was saying, there's some smoke going on over there, and it's not looking too good. And then subsequently, you have one Wednesday, no episode, then followed by an episode on a Saturday, no Rory, no Maul, then followed by another episode last week where Joe kind of addresses it, and it kind of just goes off, and everyone's talking about it. He came out with new artwork, and it's just him on the front. It's not the big group anymore, whatever. Hopefully they work it out and the podcast gets back running. But here's what I don't really give a damn about. I don't give a damn about that. Let me tell you what I do give a damn about. Working with friends. I think working with friends is very difficult. And when you work with friends, there has to be clear lines established before you enter into the working relationship. Because it's so easy to assume that you and your friends will be on the same page because of, oh no, that's my guy. He'll never do me dirty. Maybe not. Then you throw the money in, and then for them a little bit differently, because you have a business that one person is the face of. It's his intellectual property, and they are employees of that enterprise. And because they are employees, they are subject to the terms that Joe dictates. And sometimes the assumption may be because we're friends, we're equals in this project. But no, we're not. This is my project. I'm inviting you to it. But I'm willing to bet, and I'm not going to speculate much here on this, but I'm willing to bet that they did not have many conversations about what the roles were, who the responsibilities would fall on, and how the conversations go when it comes to negotiations. It's something like, hey, here's what we got. What's your input? What would you like to do? Maybe. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be heard. And when those clear lines aren't established, there's confusion. And where there's confusion and conflict may occur, it becomes chaos and hurt and pain. And that's what you got now. You got chaos. And as somebody who has a podcast, and I regularly have friends on my podcast, I try to keep things, clear for them, because it's like, hey, bro, this is my podcast. You are welcome to be a guest here, a regular guest here, but this is mine. I'm going to take the podcast in the direction that I want to take it in. Now, when you're here on, do you have say-so on the topics? Absolutely. Can you bring your topics? Yes. Can you say whatever the hell you want to say on the podcast? Yes. But it's mine. If you was like, hey, can you cut this out? No, you said it. I don't cut my content for anybody except for me. Now I might do it because I like you, but anyways. So the biggest thing is you don't mix pain. You don't mix friends and business. And when you do, you have to be very direct about it. And especially with a podcast, because here's what happens. You talk on the podcast and you create content and you spend a lot of time together. But if you already have a life, you may not have time to hang out as friends anymore, especially with COVID. I assume this may have happened with them. And if you're not talking about life that's not on the mic, you may not ever talk about the stuff that's going on with somebody, what they're going through, their hurt, their pain, what their emotional state is at that given time. And now your friendship is becoming work. And now when you're having problems at work, you're having problems with your friends, and you're not talking about the issues that you have. Like in my co-host search, do I want my co-host or anybody that I have regularly on the podcast to be someone who is in my everyday talking life? No. Because I don't want our only conversations to be centered around the podcast. And the people who I have regular conversations with, are they guests? Yes. Can they come here and be guests? Absolutely. But the people you see on the podcast on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis, are these the people that I hang out with every single day and talk to all the damn time? No. Bahrain crew, yeah, I talk to them in a group text or pod crew. We're not the Bahrain crew no more, with the pod crew. Do we talk in a group text every single day? Yes. But we're all in different parts of the world. And we still have our separate private conversations. And guess what? We only pod once a month, not twice a week. Not even once a month. We pod whenever we decide to pod. You know what I mean? So it becomes more of a pleasure thing, and it's not getting so spread out that your friendship becomes work, because you never want your friendship to become work. You just always want to constantly work on your friendships. Okay, I think this is the last bit of like celebrity news-ish. Just real quick, I want to talk about The Bachelor. Now, I've never watched the full episode of The Bachelor. I don't know if I've ever watched part of an episode of The Bachelor. Well, because I don't know that, I'm not going to put it on record. But I'll say never watched the full episode, right? And long story short, we finally get a black bachelor after like 20, 25 seasons. And he don't even go home with the woman. Why? Because previous to being on the show, it came out that she was in a, what do we call it? She attended an antebellum party. And you know the antebellum era, right? Okay, so if you're familiar with the antebellum era, you see what kind of party it was. And it was just distasteful. For one, that probably should have been vetted before she made the show, probably, especially if you want to have a black guy on there. But it comes out, whatever, he chooses not to be with the lady, and people are going crazy. It happened in the past. He should be able to forgive her. All of that. Maybe. But guess what? When you're selecting a partner, if your partner has a trait, has a past, has something, anything that you can't get over, no matter how stupid or how practical it may be, you don't have to get over it. You don't. You can do whatever you want to do as far as choosing a partner. If someone doesn't make you happy, especially early on when you don't have financial obligations, you don't have kids, you can just wake up and say, I'm done. Should you give them an explanation for closure? Absolutely. You should. But at the end of the day, if your peace is disturbed, if you're not happy, protect your peace, king. Protect your peace, queen. And that's what I believe Matt James did. He protected his peace. And me personally, I'm like, bro, shorty, no. Like 2018, what was you thinking going to this party? Like, this wasn't like in 2010, 2012, when you were a little bit younger, a little bit dumber, you know, and society wasn't as woke. I would have hoped that you wouldn't have done it then, but I mean, shoot, Dixie Outfitters had a run where everybody had on a rebel flag on their shirt. And then we've learned that, hey, I mean, we know what this stands for, but now we're actually focusing on it, and that's not cool. You shouldn't be repping that. What message are you trying to put out here? But because he didn't want to be with her, that's his choice. And then the people trying to tell him who he should be with. Hey. If you don't want to be with her, he ain't gonna be with her. Why do you care? I guess because y'all watch the show. You know, it's one of the highest rated shows. So y'all go, oh my God, they gotta fall in love. Not to mention the fact that you're going on TV, getting drunk, hanging out, and you're competing with a bunch of people to find love. And then y'all mad because it didn't work because of some real substantive stuff. Just crazy. But that's one of the benefits of white privilege. It allows you to think in a vacuum. You don't have to think about the context often. You get to look at that and say, you know, it was just a party. It was nothing. Maybe for you, but not for me, not for my family, not for the whole world. Guess what? I have to be seen with you in public. Maybe I care about that. People sit here and say, oh, it shouldn't matter what other people say about you. It does. We care. We want to be liked. We don't like getting looked at crazy when we go places. Black man, white woman, you're going to get looked at crazy in places. 2021, should it happen? No. But does it happen? Yes. Would that be a reason why somebody would not want to date out of their race? Absolutely. Are they entitled to do that? Yes. You're entitled to try to date whoever the hell you want. I'm not going to knock you. I don't care. And no one else should care. It's not their relationship. So I just don't understand why people care so much. I don't understand why they could not properly contextualize it and say, oh, this makes sense. There's a lot of societal pressure on people, and it affects other people differently. And just that particular thing is something that, I can't unsee this. It changes how I feel about you, and you're not the person who I thought you were. And to me, that's a legitimate reason to end a relationship. But speaking of quasi-race conversation, let's talk about voter suppression in Georgia. So there was recently a new bill signed by Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. Oh man, Brian Kemp and voting, isn't that funny? He changing some of the voting laws in Georgia. And I'm going to go through a list of some of the highlights. I'm going to just provide a little bit of feedback on it because it is making it difficult for some people to vote. Yes, but there are some positives to it. I just want to put that out there, but I'm going to talk about it fully here. Let me pull it up. Give a damn about no damn. Let me see. Here we go. It's sad that the vote is this actual thing is split along party lines. It's like Democrats, you're suppressing the vote. Republicans are right. Like, no, we're getting the right people voting. Like, look, man, let's make voting easier. Overall, let's make voting easier. Voting shouldn't be that damn hard. Hell, like let's everyone should be able to do it. Everybody should be able to participate in the government because guess what? We all got to pay taxes. No taxation without representation. It's crazy that a country was built on, hey, you can't tax me and not pay me. Excuse me, you can't tax me and not let me talk. But then you got people who are now saying, well, we still want your tax money, but you're a felon. Well, you didn't get your vote in time. You did that wrong. Well, nah, we don't want you to vote. We're going to make it. Nah, hell, you want my tax money? You should get my vote. Anyways, here we go. Increase state power over counties. The new law removes the Georgia Secretary of State as the chair of state elections. And instead, the law lets the state legislature appoint a nonpartisan chair of the board. Here's the problem. In the previous election, our former president called the Georgia Secretary of State and wanted him to make some changes. And he was like, no, I'm not doing that. The election was fair. And we're not doing that. And the Georgia Assembly gets pissed because, Georgia's been a red state. And now we have 2 Democrat senators. And, they're saying that Stacey Abrams is making up votes and all of this stuff, getting people registered to vote who were dead, this, that, and the third. But the state itself is still red. Now, the heart of Atlanta is blue, and there are some blue pockets. But when you start thinking about the state assembly, you only have so much representation from the blue, and you're going to have more red representation. Excuse me. So now the red side gets to pick who gets to oversee the process. And under the law, if a majority of the 5-member board decides that a county's election officials have been doing their job poorly, the board can suspend those officials and replace them with one person the board has handpicked to serve as a temporary superintendent with the same powers the officials have. So what it sounds like, I'm not saying this is what it is. What it sounds like is, if we don't get our way, we're going to appoint somebody to make sure we get our way. If that's not a direct attack on democracy, I don't know what is. What else we got? The new law allows state board to sideline election officials in up to 4 counties at a time. A majority of the board would have to decide that the officials demonstrated nonfeasance, malfeasance, or gross negligence in at least 2 elections over a 2-year period, or that the county officials committed the crime at least 3 violations of election law, board regulations that last 2 general election cycles had not, whatever. This is a concern to officials and activists in large Democratic-run counties like Fulton, because President Trump pretty much attacked what they were doing, because that's what swayed the election. And let me just cite this. I'm reading an article. I'm using an article from CNN, written by Daniel Dale and Diane Gallagher. I just want to make sure I'm giving them credit for this one. Now let's get to the next one. Where are we at? Sorry, guys. It's crazy. Last thing. It's crazy how we talk about small government, especially on the red side, but they're making the government bigger for them. Guaranteed, but also limited drop boxes. The new law requires each Georgia county to have a minimum of 1 box for absentee ballots. So now, hey, everybody got to have a drop box. Great. Because this past election was the first time we used them in Georgia because of the pandemic. But the law limits how many drop boxes each county can have and how many hours and days the boxes can be open and where they can be located. The law says that each county can't have more than 1 drop box per early voting site or per 100,000 active registered voters, whichever number is smaller. This provision will dramatically reduce the number of drop boxes available in some large counties. Fulton, for example, will go from 38 that it had to 8 in the future. And this is problematic. Why the hell are we limiting drop boxes? Who cares about drop boxes? So now you're going to make me, if I'm in a large county, drive further to drop my vote off. What are we doing here? It does not make sense to me. I don't understand it because what? Because if the votes are invalid in the drop boxes, they're going to get thrown out during the count, right? So if the counters are doing their jobs, it doesn't matter how many drop boxes we have. Do we have something saying, oh, well, it costs this much money to go collect the votes from the... Man, look, if you're going from 38 to 8, that is a problem because now we're making it harder for people to vote. And it takes me back to some of the foundations, you know, the difference between the Senate and the House of Representatives. The little man says we need the Senate, everyone have equal representation, where the big man says, bro, I got all these people. I should have more voices in the room because I have more pressing needs. I deserve to be louder than them. Same, boss. Same thing we're doing here. We're trying to favor the little man and not help the big man. Because the smaller counties aren't affected by this. But the big counties, like Fulton, are being hurt. Not cool. Not cool. See what else we got. Another early voting day in primaries and general election. So they are adding another early voting day, which I think is great. So again, I told you there are some positives that come out of this. And let me see. Under the weekend provision. So under the former law, only one Saturday during the primaries and general elections from 9 to 4. Under the new law, 2 Saturdays of early voting are mandatory from 9 to 5 p.m. at a minimum, or from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And 2 Sundays are optional. So we are opening up early voting on the weekends. Expect for those people who work the Monday through Friday 9 to 5. You can go on the weekend and get your vote cast. Because the old law said during normal business hours are different and by everybody. Some would say 7 to 3, 9 to 5. I would say 7 to 7, but not saying that everyone works that full slate, but it gives people who maybe work who start their days earlier the option to vote at the end of the day, and those who start their days later to go before they get off, or before they go in, or even after they get off. Let's see what we got here. Shorten runoffs. The law significantly shrinks both the overall length of runoff campaigns and the early voting period for runoffs. I don't have an issue with this because I'll tell you what. Hey guys, I'm sorry. I have to stop this because I have to go get the dog. I am so sorry. I'm just going to put this on pause, but I will be back. All right, I'm back. Oh man, I had to take a little commercial break there, but we're back. And what were we talking about? We were talking about the voting law in Georgia. And let's see. Here we go. So yeah, the runoffs are short. Okay, here's the big thing though. Big changes are coming to absentee voting. A lot of changes are coming here. We have under the new law, absentee ballots are allowed to be sent out. Let me see. 29 days before an election, not 49 days previously. And what else? We have voters are allowed to request an absentee ballot at a maximum of 78 days instead of 180 days. And the applications have to be received by election officials no later than 11 days before the election, a reduction from the previous effective deadline of 4 days before the election. That's wild. Why do the absentee ballots have to be in earlier? Do you really need more time to count? Do you really need more time to count? I don't think we had a counting problem, but now they got to be in earlier. Why? Because a lot of ballots came in towards the end, maybe, and that had people thinking an election was going in one direction and it went in another direction. So now we're going to just inconvenience people. How come I can't request it earlier? Like, we know who's going to be on the ballot. For the most part, we know who we're going to vote for. The longer I got it, the more time I have to look at it, play with it, become informed, work it into my schedule, because people are busy and everyone's not regularly informed. And some of us like to know what we're voting on and what we're voting about, and we go and do that. So if we're going to do that, I just don't get it. Like, why are you trying to make it harder to vote? And here's another thing that now they can no longer just send out absentee request. They have to you have to request it now. So they used to would send it out for you to apply for your absentee ballot. No longer. Again, why? Is there a group of people that are now voting that you don't want to vote? Because that's how I take it. And I think everyone should have the right to vote. And I think we should make it easy for people to vote. We should make it easier for people to vote. I mean, hell, we do everything electronically now except for vote. We still use this outdated, let me either fill it, write something down, or use this computer system. And again, it's all this manual stuff. And it shouldn't be that way. I should be able to vote securely from my phone and call it a day. Because we make way more important decisions from our phones on a daily. Also, a food and drink restriction. And I could get down with it's a misdemeanor for a person to give or offer any money or gifts, including food or drink, to a voter within a polling place within 150 feet of the building of the polling place, or within 25 feet of any voter standing in line at any polling place. Now, we know Georgia had those historically long lines, right? So you mean to tell me if I'm in line for 5 hours, somebody can't bring me no food or water? They can't offer that to me? And that's now a crime? It would be one thing if one side, somebody who had a tie to a candidate, is providing food and drink because maybe that sways people. Like, oh, you know what? He did give me that water while I was in line. So I'm going to vote for him. I'm going to vote for him. No. What if the polling place just provides food and drink because they know they got a long line, they ain't got enough machines, they ain't got enough workers, and they got too many people at their precinct, and they're just trying to get people in and out and keep them as comfortable as possible. Also, we don't want to deter people from voting. We don't want to push them to leave, right? Don't want to push them to leave. But if we do, if we don't give them food and drink and water, then they might leave. And guess what? The places where the lines are the longest are usually in the communities that go against the red team. They're typically blue communities. And don't get me started on the race on the race side of it. Here's some more things. There can be hotlines for voters to report voter intimidation and illegal election activities. I mean, I'm not a hotline guy because you can just call hotlines and make up anything. Who gives a damn? Um, Counties can't use mobile voting facilities. So, like Fulton County had buses in 2020, not a thing anymore. That any Georgia voter can challenge an unlimited number of other individuals' qualifications to vote. What? So now people can just walk up to you and say, you know what? You're not qualified to vote. Now, will that stop someone from voting? No, but will it just create another process that takes up time and it's annoying? Yeah. So again, making it harder to vote. And there's a lot more in the article. If you're interested in it, you should just look it up, and you'll get a nice little walkthrough of just the voting process and the changes in Georgia and how messed up they are and how they appear to be directed at one side of the fence. And I don't really understand it because I thought politicians are supposed to represent the people, not their people, but people. You know, one of my favorite sportscasters, Colin Cowherd, always says, I'm not here to be right. I'm here to get it right. And I thought that's what politicians were supposed to do. They were not here to represent their people. They're supposed to represent all of the people and look out for the best interests of the people. And if you are trying to silence some people who you may not align with, you are no longer representing the people. You are representing your people, or more importantly, you're representing yourself. And that's selfish. And maybe you should just work in private industry because, yeah, in private, yeah, do whatever you can for yourself. But in public service, you should be looking out for the greater good. And there is absolutely no explanation for why you would want less people to vote if you're truly looking out for their greater good. But you're not. You're looking out for the good of yourself. And we know. It's obvious. In Georgia, you really need to do better. You need to do better. And I'm not going to get into the corporate side of this, people calling out Coca-Cola and Delta. Like, bro, if y'all are expecting corporations to care about you, you're absolutely crazy. I mean, see what's going on with this COVID and stuff. Now we can, the NFL is going to let people in, are expected to be at full capacity. NBA is look more and more teams are letting people in the games. You got New York with the passport visa thing now. Not the passport visa, the vaccine passport, and I look at it and say, so we just gave big medicine, big pharma more money, huh? So now that we have the vaccine, and I saw earlier this week where the vaccine may not even be effective within a year because of the different mutations. But now that we have it, now it's being passed out. Now that it's being championed a little bit more, we are more accepting of it, and we're opening things up and we're getting stuff back to normal. Although in most places we're still wearing masks, and we're still being told that the mask is what's right and proper. I don't like the mask. I don't want to wear a mask. I like to show off my face. I have a really nice smile, and I don't get to show my smile with a mask on. So, not a fan of it, but I'm not gonna. I'll wear it for now. But I really just think all of this was everybody saying this conspiracy, that conspiracy. I'm just gonna go to the conspiracy that kind of just stands pat that big pharmaceutical companies they run the world. And here's what they've done. The world is opening back up, but not without putting money in the big pharmaceutical companies' pockets. And to the ESPN article that I looked at, talk on ESPN Undefeated, which is ESPN for colored folks, is pretty much saying that it's on black athletes, on NBA players to come out and support the vaccine. and advocate for people to take the vaccine just like they did with social justice. No, it's not. For one, it was not their responsibility to take that role that they took in social justice. But they did. Why? Because they believed in it. It's something that they wanted to do. And I appreciate that. Thank you. But it's not on them to promote the vaccine. If they want to take it, they can take it. If they want to be an advocate for it, they can be an advocate for it. But no one should be pressured into advocating for anything. If you're going to advocate for something, if you're going to support something, if you're going to try to influence people to do something, it should be something that you choose to do on your own. Not because somebody else told you to do it. I just want to apologize to you all because if you were listening earlier, I had the wrong microphone hooked up and I bet this shit sounded awful. I know you heard everything around here. But anyways, let's get, what else do we have on here? What will we cancel next? It's cancel culture, you know. Get rid of him for that. Get rid of her for this. No more gender reveals because that's homophobic. Get YG song Meet the Flockers off of YouTube because it's inciting Asian hate. Get Donald Trump off social media because he incited a insurrection. What will we cancel next? I'm curious. Here's what I think. I think when we look back on this generation, we're going to cancel culture. We're going to look at a time where people's words were taken out of context. People's actions were viewed through a skewed lens. And nuance was removed from every situation that requires nuance. And we're going to say that was the stupidest generation ever. Were they correct for attacking some of the toxic cultures that have, I don't know, been a part of the world for years, generations, centuries? However, yeah. They're going to say, yeah, the mindset was good, but the execution was awful. Now think about it. For one, the people who are trying to cancel stuff and silence stuff, who are you and who are they? I think I talked about the Eminem thing on here, like, oh, Gen Z's trying to cancel Eminem on TikTok. Okay, bro, we like Eminem. If we listen to Eminem, we still gonna listen to Eminem. You just don't have to listen to it. And I think that's what people have to learn to do. If you don't like something, just ignore it. Just ignore it. You don't have to respond. You don't have to engage. You don't have to consume. I got tired of getting on Instagram complaining about the spiritual world not being spiritual. Just trying to be the Shade Room 2.0. And you know what I did? I said, why am I following this page? Just don't consume it no more. And you're good. So for those of you who just want to cancel everything because it's wrong, no, don't cancel it because you might get canceled. Because none of us are perfect. None of us are infallible. And everything requires nuance. So I hope in the future that when we look back on this time, we go, yeah, we got that one wrong. We sure got that one wrong. Because canceling people, especially for their past transgressions, when they've already worked through that process, is nonsense. And who are we really canceling? The whole world's not on social media. There's more people off of social media than on social media. And canceling really only happens on social media. We got to stop listening to the loud voices on social media and get back into the real world. And that takes me to, hey, brother, the internet is real. Everybody try to act like, nah, the internet ain't real life. Yes, it is. The internet has become real life. It's just like you go to the store to get some snacks. You can go to the internet to get some snacks. You go to the club to hang out. You go to Clubhouse to hang out. You know, The internet has become a real place. Now, is it a place where you get to physically touch people? No. But it's a real place, and the antics that we used to call internet antics are just no, they're just antics. Like, how often do we see people going on these rants talking about some, bro, I ain't want to do this for real, for real. I ain't no internet type of person, but I gotta set the record straight. Well, you're doing it. You're on the internet. And are you really setting the record straight? Are you changing anybody's mind, or are you just feeding information to the people who want to hear it, who support you? And then the people who don't support you, they go, oh, yeah, whatever. He just talking. Have you ever given that any thought? So for those of you who think the internet is fake, no, the internet is real. There are people who are on the internet all day, every day. And we just have to learn to add that in our lives as a place in which things happen. And if you don't like what you see on the internet, you leave. Just like if you don't like what you're seeing if you don't like the food at a restaurant, you leave. If you don't like a movie, you leave. If you see some stuff happening at a club and you're not comfortable, you leave. Same thing with the internet. If you don't like what you're seeing, close the app, get off the phone, do whatever the case may be. And that kind of takes me into Kevin Durant and Michael Rapaport. I'm not going to reread any of the messages. At one point, they had a relationship and it went sour. Rap didn't like the way Katie did an interview. He said some things to him. KD fired back. KD always fires back. That's what KD does. You know, he has the burners. He hits DMs. He gets in your mentions. That's just who Kevin Durant is. I'm not saying that it's me, because it's not. I don't really engage with people on social media too often, unless I just like, I got time today. But for the most part, I don't engage. He chooses to. That's his right. But let me just say, for this rap, that shit was lame for you to put, for you to post DMs. Like, bro, that's never cool. Like, that's some elementary, that's some middle school type shit. For real, for real. Like that's what you do when you tired of being a side piece and you want to be the main course. So you just gonna put all the screenshots out there so that everybody who so that the main can see it, and then now she gonna leave. You think she gonna leave so that you can get that person, right? Because at the end of the day, you're doing it for you. You're not doing it for anybody else but you. And I was a Michael Rapaport fan for a long time, and then his antics just started getting too wild for me. Just all the just cloud chasing, man. Like, I get it. I like to be a pest sometimes. I like to troll. It's fun. But when it gets to the point that you're always around some type of controversy, you're always talking shit. Yeah, it's great to talk shit. I love talking shit. But where do you draw the line? And KD, I want to come on here and say, bro, you got to be better than that, this, that, and the third. But it was a private conversation. So here's what I'll say: ignore people like that. But if you choose to engage, just understand that if you're going to say some outlandish, wild shit, and it's something that you're going to type, the world can see it. If the person who on the other side does some weak ass shit like Rapaport did. But Katie talking about his wife, I don't care what you said about his wife. That's not cool either. But I just don't like how everybody's coming at KD calling him sensitive. Maybe he is sensitive. So what? So what? If he wants to engage with people on social media, that's his right. He's almost a billionaire. He's one of the best basketball. So what? He's still human. He still has feelings, and he has time. So if he has time to dilly dally on the internet, let him do that. If it messes up his endorsement money, if it messes up his image, if he loses fans, what effect does it have on you? What's changed in your life? I just want him to get healthy so he can get back on the basketball court so I can watch that work of art hoop. That's what I want to see. But that's all I expect from KD. I just expect him to be a good basketball player. I don't care about him being a good guy. I don't care about him being a role model. I don't care about him handling himself like he should, or trying to fight other celebrities on the street. Now, do I agree with it? No. I think it's stupid. Thanks for your support, Bobby Jean. I think it's stupid. But if you're gonna do it, Kevin Durant, that's on you. You do what you do, and everybody else, y'all stop caring. But that's the problem with the media. See, the media thinks that they matter too much. And don't get me wrong, I am part of the media, but I understand that without the people who are doing what I'm talking about, I ain't got nothing to talk about. I can't become bigger than music, than sports, than the entertainment, social media, whatever it is that I talk about on this podcast, however I'm feeling that week, that day, whatever guest I have on here, I'm not bigger than the content. Because without the content, without the actions, I have nothing to talk about. I can't take a big story and make it a small story for you. I can't give you my opinion on something if there's not a something happening or someone doing something. I understand that. I accept that. Now, do I want to be one of the best media personalities ever? You're damn right. But do I understand my role, my place? Yes, I understand. And more media needs to do that because it's sickening hearing, like, bruh, and some great journalists, some great media personalities will get to talking about this GM is stupid. This GM should do that. This coach is stupid. He should do that. If I was there, I would have. You're not there. And you're not there because you're not good enough. They're better at you than you are. They're better at what they're doing than you are at what they're doing. Because more times than not, you'd be there. Now, again, do I criticize people for stuff? Yes. Do I sometimes be like, what the hell are they thinking? Yes. But do I also understand that my role as a media member, as a talking head, is to talk about the things that I see, the things that happen. Yeah, I do understand that. And I'm comfortable in that role. But everyone's not comfortable in the role of being behind the scenes or being a supporting piece of the bigger picture. And I'm seeing that with Kyle Shanahan. Now, if you know me, you know I'm not a big Kyle Shanahan guy. Mainly because we should have won a Super Bowl, 28-3, that whole nonsense. Yeah, his play calling, some poor execution by Matt Ryan, a tired defense, all of that stuff. But I blame Kyle Shanahan for our Super Bowl loss because he could have ran the ball 3 plays in a row, kicked a field goal, we're up 11, won the game. But now Kyle Shanahan has moved up to pick 3. And a lot of reports, a lot of people who are close to him and say they understand how he thinks about football says that Mac Jones is the pick. When football season was over, Mac Jones was the number 5 quarterback in the class, late first round, early second round pick. Then prior to his pro day, it's rumored that he's going to go number 3. And that's because they say he's really great on the whiteboard. He processes information really quickly. And that's what Kyle Shanahan wants. And kind of the comp is your Kirk Cousins, your Matt Ryans, even like your Matt Schaubs, those type of quarterbacks that he's previously worked with and brought out the best in them. You see what he's done for Jimmy G. You see what he's done for the backups there in San Francisco, C.J. Beathard, Nick Mullins. He's made them look like quarterbacks with pulses because he's playing a video game and the quarterback's a joystick. He's pushing the quarterback in the direction that he should go. And before Shanahan makes his pick, I would caution him. Look at your boy down in L.A. He got tired of having to control Jared Goff because it got to a point where it's like, hey, bro, I can't control you the whole play. I can't just keep whispering these sweet nothings in your ear so that you make the right decision. I got to let you play. I think Kyle needs to do the same thing. If he's going to get a quarterback at 3, he shouldn't go for the number 5 rated quarterback by most people. He should probably get the 3rd one or the 2nd one if he's available, or the 4th one if he's available. Like just think about it. I think he's so smart and cocky that he's going to outthink the room, and he's going against the grain. And there's nothing wrong with pushing the limits and sometimes going against the grain, but in today's NFL, when has the coach been so great that his elevation of average to below average talent beat great talent? We look at New England. They don't look the same without Tom Brady. They don't look the same without good skill players. They didn't look the same with their defensive players who opted out. We love X's and O's, but it's still the Billy and Joes that win the game. And if you look at this offensive system, the Shanahan system, even go back to his dad. His dad won 3 Super Bowls, 2 as a head coach, 1 as an OC. And then you look at Gary Kubiak, who also won a Super Bowl with this system. So here's the quarterbacks who won these Super Bowls: Steve Young, John Elway, Peyton Manning. 3 Hall of Famers. 2 of some people's top 5 quarterbacks to ever do it. I say it's safe to say to put all of them in the top 15 to 20 quarterbacks to ever play the game. That's who won the Super Bowl in this system. Yes, not Kyle. Yes, Matt Ryan had an MVP season. Yes, Kirk Cousins had his best season. Yes, Matt Schaub had his best season. But guess what? It didn't result in championships. Because you know what results in championships? Great coaches and great quarterbacks. And from everything that I've read and I've listened to from the people that I trust who evaluate talent, Mac Jones is not a great quarterback prospect, but someone who may be available. A Justin Fields is someone else who showed a lot of promise, needs some time, and you could do it because you could keep Jimmy G. Trey Lance could be that as far as the tangibles, the skill set, the body, the arm, the athleticism. Because remember, this system worked for RG3 too. He was the offensive rookie of the year. He got to the playoffs, running the Kyle Shanahan system, a mobile quarterback, using the college concepts. So I just think over there in San Fran, they should pump the brakes on Mac Jones. Great offensive line, an array of weapons, and in a crazy COVID season where we saw a lot of weird stuff, but we saw total consistency from Alabama from the entire season because that's a machine, that's a factory. And as we know, man, quarterbacks in these major programs historically have not been great NFL quarterbacks. Recently, we're starting to see it work more. And I hope Mac Jones works out wherever he goes. But I think Shanahan's doing a little too much, man. A little too much. He's like Brad Stevens, smart, like the smartest coach. But he's not a champion. See, coaches and their egos, man. Like look at Andy Reid. Just wouldn't bring in an extra block in the Super Bowl. Mahomes running all over the field, nowhere to throw. Coaches and their egos. And while we're on Andy Reid, when did Andy Reid finally win his Super Bowl? when he got his great quarterback talent who could run the system. He couldn't win it with Alex Smith. He couldn't win it with Donovan McNabb. We knew Andy Reid was a good coach, but he did not become Andy Reid until he got his great quarterback. Do we really think Mac Jones is going to be the great quarterback? I don't. Here's another thing about the NFL draft. I think the NFL draft is one of those really weird things because college football ends in January and the draft is not until the end of April or in May, early May, right? And you have these pro days, you have these interviews. We used to have the combine, and we watch people's stock go up and down and up and down and up and down, and it has nothing to do with the film. Has absolutely nothing to do with the film. And I think the film is probably I would say it's the most important part. Now, when I interview you, I kind of want to know what type of person you are, what you do in your spare time, all of that good stuff. I want to know who you are. So I know that you fit in my locker room. But if you're going to a pro day, the stuff you do well there does nothing for me. You're throwing on air. You don't have on pads. You don't have a pass rush. There's very little pressure on you to perform what it is that we need you to do. If you're now, if you suck at your pro day, especially as a quarterback, if you suck, I'm done with you because you had time to prepare for this, and it shows me that you didn't prepare or your nerves got in the way. And if your nerves got in the way, I don't need you on my team. But ultimately, I'm going to rely on the tape. I'm going to rely on the tape. I'm going to rely on the interviews and stuff like that because we can get so caught up into what people look like in compression shorts and no shirt. We can get so in love with the straight line speed, these high verticals, these big hands, these bench presses. But what happens on the field? Let me see what happens on the field. And that's what is important to me, man. And we see all the stuff going, player rankings going up and down and up and down. And I'd caution you all to pay more if you're looking at best players, man. Pay attention to the big boards. The big board is where the player is ranked, how the player is rated. The mock draft now is what teams want, what teams need, and what the people who are creating the mock drafts are hearing. You'll never see me do a mock draft because, for one, I don't watch film. I don't talk to people. So I would have an uninformed mock draft, or I'll just be copying somebody else's stuff. Now, I might put together some picks of stuff that I like. Ooh, I like to see this player here. I like to see this done there, but I would never pitch it as a mock draft because that would insinuate that I'm projecting what's going to happen in the draft. So, they change because people are saying stuff. They're putting information out. They use the big mock drafts to try to get other teams off of a player's trail so that maybe they could grab the player for where they want them. If they're behind that team, they can't move up. It's just teams manipulating to maximize value. So honestly, don't lose any sleep over mock drafts. I look at them because I like them. It's cool to me, but it's not something that I place a lot of emphasis on because it is what it is, man. Let's see. What else do we got here? We got to stop doing these bad player comps too. When we are doing player comps for players coming out, we have got to stop comparing them to Hall of Famers. I get that we want to use household names. I do. The household name is so important. Like, oh yeah, I know this guy. I can make this comparison so people will understand that. But, right? I think that it sets the player up for failure. Because you're now comparing them to this player who was head and shoulders better than them, 85, 90% of the time? Right? So we should just be more judicious with it. If a player's going to be an average quarterback, say, oh, he reminds me of Tony Romo. Or, oh, you know what? He's a Carson Palmer type. Or, oh, he's Aaron Brooks. You know what I mean? Not even, oh, he's a Donovan McNabb type. Or he's going to be a Cam Newton. Or he's going to be a Ryan Tannehill or Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning. Names that we know, names that we're familiar with, but not the names of those who are the best of the best. So before I get to the next topic, let me go to the comments real quick. Let me see what we got going on here. Thank you. I really appreciate the love that you're giving me here in the comments, Miss Bobby Jean. It's so nice. To kind of address what you have here. So when I see things in the chat, right, that are kind of pertinent to the topic, I'll play with it. I'll play with what's in the comments, and like I said, I really appreciate the feedback. But a lot of what I have is pre-prepared. I have my talking points here. So unless I have someone in the comments asking a question or providing a perspective on the topic, I tend to stay where I'm at just because I don't want to get too far off topic and then lose track of the show and time. But thank you so much. I truly appreciate your feedback, and I'll try to do a better job of interacting with both the comments and staying on my topics. What else do we have here about the NFL draft? Let's see. Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence's union kind of scares me. And this is my just top of the head, uninformed, unresearched opinion. And it's crazy that I'm saying that because I've been telling people to stop talking about stuff without doing research. But I mean, I've watched some football, so I can call that research. Urban Meyer's, for one, his strength and conditioning hire, I didn't like it. And obviously the guy's gone, but it shows me that he's out of touch and he's being a college coach thinking that he can do whatever he wants. And he already has the reputation for doing his own thing, He's had the sketchy people on his coaching staff already. So to make that hire kind of it scares me. It alarms me. But then also the way that Trevor Lawrence is being talked about. And again, I hope the best, man. He's from my hometown. I'm rooting for him first overall. Yeah, let's go. Hall of Fame. All of that. I hope that happens. I just hope that he's not under too much pressure to turn around a terrible franchise who has a coach who's never coached at this level. And there's not a long list of coaches who were highly successful college coaches who came to the NFL and were able to immediately succeed. So, and then Urban specifically, when things get rocky, Urban goes. Urban also has health issues that could, cause him to leave before he sees this thing all the way through. But outside of Alex Smith, name a Urban Meyer quarterback that he developed that we cared about. Now, maybe he made those guys look so good that that it didn't work out for them in the NFL. And he could do the same for Trevor to where he's making Trevor an even better version of himself. But it worries me. It didn't work for Saban. It didn't work for Steve Spurrier. It took Pete Carroll a while to get it right. The college, Lou Holtz, it didn't work for him. The college coaches really struggle at the NFL level. So I'm just going to keep my eyes open for it, man. I hope it works. I really do, but it scares me. And like I told you all a long time ago, back when I thought Urban was going to take the Dallas job, I think he's doing this to submit himself above Nick Saban because although he's done really well against Saban head-to-head, Saban still has more championships, less controversy behind him. So we look at Saban as the best college coach of this era, some of the best college coach of all time. But I think that if Urban has success in the NFL, and success is, winning seasons, a winning record, a nice playoff run, and God forbid if he wins a Super Bowl down there in Jacksonville, I think he'll surpass he'll surpass Nick Saban as a great coach because he was able to do it on both ends. And yes, we know Pete Carroll won two national championships and one Super Bowl, but we don't put Pete Carroll in the same conversation as we put Nick Saban, although Pete Carroll is a great coach. Let's see. Do we have anything else football that we want to talk, man? Big Boy was a Yeah, here we go. Why are we giving all these quarterbacks no trade clauses? Because here they were talking about Jimmy G, Mac Jones, Jimmy G, Mac Jones. And they're like, well, Jimmy G can kind of have a little bit of leverage because he has a no trade clause. Now, when Jimmy G got his contract, he had 7 starts to his name, unproven track record, and we give him a no trade clause. Now, I get it that you probably didn't expect to trade the asset, but now he's not been who you wanted him to be. And he's been hurt. So you're trying to move off of him. And you give him a no trade. Like Deshaun Watson deserves a no trade clause. Tom Brady deserves a no trade clause. Aaron Rodgers deserves a no trade clause. DeAndre Hopkins deserves a no trade clause. Patrick Mahomes deserves a no trade clause. Russell Wilson deserves a no trade clause. When Drew Brees was in the league, he deserved a no trade clause. Jimmy Garoppolo? No trade clause? Absolutely not. Hell. According to this list that came out February 24th, 2021, only 8 players have no trade clauses. And I read off most of those names, and Tom Brady's not on that list. Aaron Rodgers, not on that list. They don't have no trade clauses, and they deserve them. Jimmy G, shout out to his agent for getting it for him. But teams, just don't be giving this. Everybody don't deserve a trade clause. And you should do that because it protects you. Because if you want to move off the asset, it allows you to get market or above market value for the individual, right? So why not? What? You doing what? You gave him a no trade clause? Excuse me. So that's just something I thought about. And I've been listening to a lot of draft stuff, and I keep hearing, don't draft for need. You want to draft for value. So I think that if you're a bad team, you should draft for value because you just want to accumulate talent. You want to accumulate assets, so that you can have a better team. And once you have your nucleus set up, I'm all about trading back to accumulate more assets so you can have more shots, at the target. I'd rather shoot a shotgun at a target than a bow and arrow. Why? More chances to hit it. More lethal shots. Bow and arrow, I got 1. Now, if I am good with the bow and arrow and I hit the right spot, we're good. No problems. But if I miss, I'm screwed. And so that's why I think you should just get more and more assets. But back to the drafting for value and not need. I just don't understand why you draft somebody that you don't need, even if they're available for you. If you have a need. I'm going to steal something from Colin again. It's like, getting sent to the store to buy milk and then coming back with a rake because it was on sale because, oh, it was good value. Value does nothing for you if you don't need it. So if you're gonna the way that I think you address both is by trading back, right? Finding a draft position that works for you. It's like, let's normalize not overdrafting quarterbacks, because the way we're seeing Mac Jones creep up, the same way we saw a few years back how we had 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10, 5 in the first round, and how we see quarterbacks that have second, third round, late first round grades go in the top 10. Why? If you don't need the guy, or the guy isn't giving you the right value, I get that quarterback is a different position. I get that, oh, he's a quarterback. We need a quarterback. But if he's not the right guy, who gives a damn how much value you got for him, how cheap you got him, or how little you spent to get him, or whatever you did? Who cares if the guy's not good? Because then you're going to lose your job. Job going to be gone. You're going to be out of a job, got to move the kids out of school, tell the wife you're moving, and now you got to take a step down and go back to being a scout again. Or director of scouting, or pro personnel. And guess what? Taking a pay cut. Yeah, man. So, I don't know. I just think that if you are trying to build something, you're going to get the supplies that you need to build it. And obviously, you would like to get it for the right price. You want to get it for a price that works for you and your budget. But if not, if you can't get it for that price, then sometimes you have to overpay. But we overpay for the things that we need, right? I know I do. If I want something, if I need something, and I can afford it, I'm going to pay for it, even if I know that there's something less expensive. Because, bro, if I want a pair of white Air Force Ones, I'm going to pay what it costs. Now, they might have some shell toes for $20 cheaper. Ooh, that's better value. It's still white shoes that you can pretty much wear with the same outfits. But nah, I want the falses. I don't want the shell toes. So I look at players the same way. Just because you can get good value for a player, if you don't need him, if you're not going to properly use him, get him. But then also, man, we got to understand it's about fit. It's not just about being the best player. It's about fit. Fit matters. If you don't fit my scheme, you don't fit how we're trying to play, how I'm going to coach you, I can't use you. I don't care if you're better than what I have. They might be a better fit. And fit matters. Why? Because I already told you, coaches are cocky. Coaches want to win their way, not just win. They're just like politicians. Politicians want to represent their people. They just want to win elections. It's not about everybody. Same with coaches. They just want to win. They want to win their way, not necessarily win. So if you're not going to bend to the player, then don't draft him. But, a lot of that goes with ownership. Owners aren't experts in the sports for the team that they own, but they have ultimate say at the end of the day. All right. Last NFL topic that I'm going to get to today. Didn't plan on talking about it, but I mean, we got to hit it. Deshaun Watson's allegations. I don't know what to believe. I'm not totally comfortable talking about it, but here we go. So multiple massage therapists, masseuses, whatever you want to call them, women who give massages, have come forward and saying that pretty much Deshaun, he has like 21 individual lawsuits filed against him for sexual assault for how he acted towards massage therapists. And then his lawyer has now found 18 who are going to pretty much say that, hey, no, yeah, I gave him massages and everything was on the up and up. So here's how I look at this thing. Just like we shouldn't have to tell our daughters that you may receive attention, a certain type of attention based on the way you're dressed. I'm going to tell Deshaun, hey, bro, when you got, and this is 39 massage therapists who are going on record to speak to you, you probably shouldn't have that many. You probably should have like one or two. Find your one or your couple. Maybe you have one in Atlanta. Maybe you have one in Houston, and you have those, and those are the ones who you consistently seek business, conduct business with. Why? Because you don't know what people are going to say. People can be bitter. People can be chasing clout. There could be some smear campaign, and the more opportunities, the more people who have had contact with you, they can throw things out there. Why? There may be some under the table benefits for them. There may get some notoriety. I don't know. I mean, now for this, it's not even under the table because of the lawsuit. You know, if you go to civil court and they judge in favor of the plaintiff, then buddy, you're out of money, and these people have now been compensated, and it may not have ever happened, or maybe it did happen, and you deserve what happens to you. And help, you definitely need some help. So that's kind of my piece on it, man. Just manage your circle, manage who you give access to, and manage yourself, because you don't want to find yourself in a bad situation when you haven't done anything wrong. And if you didn't do anything wrong, I wouldn't settle. I would take it to court. I would win, and then I would sue for defamation, because Deshaun Watson's name would never be the same. It's not like he may get back in good graces of most, but yeah, he's never going to be the same person. All right, I said I was going to do Let's Talk Hoops, but I'm not. I'm going to close it up, man. We're at an hour 56 minutes. I didn't have anything pressing about basketball to really talk about, but we're going to have some good stuff coming soon. Just so you all know, I got one more interview I'm going to do in the next week or two. And then after that, I'm going to be on a little hiatus break for a while because I'm moving. And then once I get set up in the new place, and we get everything moved in, set up, then we'll be back probably twice a week is what I'm looking at. One sports podcast, either basketball or football, and then just a Big Babies podcast. And we'll see. But I hope you all enjoyed this one. This was fun for me, man. I wanted to see if I could get out here and really talk for this long. And I was successful. Had a little commercial break, but we're good. Hope you all enjoyed this one. Big Baby, yeah! Oh, that was terrible. Hope you all enjoyed this one. Big Baby, yeah!